Hi, I'm Marianne, a mum and business owner living here in Scotland.
And I'm Emily, her daughter, figuring out life, love and career chaos while living in Dubai.
Welcome to the Distance Diaries. This is where we catch up on everything. Family wins, career curveballs, the messy moments and the hilarious bits in between.
Every week we share honest, funny and sometimes emotional conversations about staying connected no matter where life takes us.
So grab a cuppa and join us because staying close doesn't have to be complicated.
Let's dive right in.
Welcome everybody to episode 9 of the Distance Diaries. I'm Marianne, a mum in Scotland, and as always I'm joined by my gorgeous daughter Emily, who's living her most exciting life in sunny Dubai.
Hello everyone, how are we? Good, fine, glad to hear it. So this week we've got an exciting topic to speak about because it's something that is really personal to us. So it's how to stay connected with your kids or loved ones when life puts you in different places or households. So Mum and I have been navigating this long distance relationship we're coming up for the 2-year mark now. So we'll be sharing, isn't it? I know it's been 1.5 years next month, so we're edging closer to it. So we'll share what's worked for us over that time living so far apart, and we'll share some of the lessons that we've learned along the way.
Yeah, and I think that whole thing of whether you're in different places or different households is really relevant, and it's both of them are really relevant for us because we've been a blended family and everything. So I'm really excited about this one, and I like to think when it comes to parenting apart, whether it's due to work or separation or just life coming along and creeping up on you, parenting when you're apart is no small challenge. And I'm saying that as a mum because for me there's always guilt, there's worry, there's, oh God, let's be honest, technology doesn't always feel like it's enough day to day to bridge the gap when you're not there.
Yeah. And as the child in the situation, whatever you want to call me.
Oh, but you always will be. Me anyway.
Younger to you. It's not always easy on my side. So although I'm the one that's moved and I'm the one that's created the distance and the gap, it's just as hard. So like I don't want to feel like I'm growing apart from you, but different time zones or schedules or lifestyles, like the time zone thing's massive because I'm 4 hours now ahead of you. So my evening is you just getting going with your day, and it can be really hard to find time to connect. So if you're not intentional about finding that time, days just go by and you think, oh my gosh, we've not spoken so long.
We do, don't they?
Yeah.
So if we really get to the heart of it, how do we make communication really meaningful when we're apart? And when I sat and thought about this, I thought the first thing we did was to establish a really strong routines for being with one another that really prioritised our connection. And I think that's the one core thing that's worked really well for us, Emily.
Yeah, I mean, we do weekly video calls, but I would say daily video calls to be honest, but we make sure we do at least one every week. Us every day, but one every week is very important. Even when I'm really busy, I always make sure to prioritise like mum phone call time. Like I need to phone my mum. I've maybe not spoke to her in a few hours. I need to speak to her.
We never spoke this much when we were in the house.
No, we didn't. But I think being apart, for me, I have a fear of being disconnected and growing apart from you, so I always feel like I need to check in. What you doing? What's the dogs doing? Send me a picture. How you feeling? So, and like you ask me questions as well that you wouldn't ask, so you're always asking me like, how do I feel about things, not just scooting around. How was your day? Yeah, good, fine, right, whatever. It's really deep.
We go deeper
conversation. Yeah,
I think I'm always conscious. Well, I've become really conscious that at the beginning it was quite superficial. And it was just an exchange of knowledge, really. What have you been doing? What is this? What is that? Do you know, it was really superficial and I was feeling quite empty. And then I realised actually it's about listening more and being more curious. And I suppose that's where being a coach, I wasn't practising what I preached at the beginning, and it's made me become very present to the kind of conversations we have. So I try to be like having open-ended questions, do you know?
Yeah.
And we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so use them in proportion and trying to listen a lot more. And even this podcast has really helped that. I've become really aware that I was talking over the top of you a lot and doing the majority of the talking.
Well,
so I've been practicing not doing that and listening and giving you space. And I think that all helps with us to reflect on our lives at a much deeper level, for us to be much more honest with each other. And those two things alone really help for us to stay connected.
Yeah. And I mean, we're lucky though, aren't we? Like, we live in such a digital world where we can do the WhatsApp calls, we can do the instant messages, instant photo sharing, instant everything pretty much. Like, you can jump on a flight pretty instantly if you wanted. But it can feel so overwhelming trying to find the balance of, like, how many phone calls should we have? How often should we be texting? How often should I be sending you pictures of what I'm up to because you're not here to experience it? Like, and for you as well. So how do you make sure that tech doesn't just become like just a noise and just a nuisance in your life?
Oh, sometimes it has felt like that. So that's a really good question. I think for me, it's about using the right tools in the right way. And we've had to kind of practice with that. So, for example, we use WhatsApp. I mean, thank goodness for whoever designed WhatsApp. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But we only use it for like quick messages and stuff. We don't do in-depth things, but I find it really important because like I'll share things like, I'm a sucker for just saying best girl and sending you a love heart, or proud of you, or thinking about you, or sending you a picture of the dog sleeping in a funny position, or, just those little snapshots kind of day to day. And that makes me feel connected to you throughout the day. And sometimes you just send me stuff that just makes me laugh, and I'll be in the middle of a meeting and I actually have to laugh out loud because this picture has popped up, which is really, really sweet. What else do we do? We started, actually, this is a more recent one, we started sharing calendars. And that, I think, has really helped because going back to the time zone, I would forget where you are because I just think in my time. But actually, I can look in there and I'll see in your calendar when you're working, when you're travelling, when you're just out, because you've got everything colour-coded, so I know what yellow means.
Yeah.
And I can see the gaps and stuff. That has made such a difference. So the amount of times I phone you now and you're actually there.
Yeah. Same with you. You're self-employed, so you don't have working hours as such. So I don't know when you're on client calls. I don't know when you've popped to the gym or popped to I don't actually know what your day looks like.
Yeah. And I know that the other thing as well that I've liked, because you've started doing more of this too, is voice notes.
Yeah.
I know I started it because you would never send me a voice note, but now it's really lovely. I can actually hear your voice. And sometimes I know it's when you're on the go, and you just want to be able to tell me something fast.
Yeah.
And I think in the beginning you used to leave me long voice notes, and I had to say to you, don't leave me long ones because I don't have time to listen to them in the middle of the day. And I don't think you'd even thought about it.
No, because you know, it's like my voice note, you just start and you just go, and it's like, what else have I got to tell you? Oh, and this happened, and no, and that happened, and before you know it, it's 5 minutes. And I hate receiving them as well, not just from you, from anybody. If I get a long voice note, you're guaranteed I'll listen to the first 30 seconds and the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, they're wee 30-second jobs just to remind us, but I really love them. So I think that's the whole thing, is that we've got used to using technology in a way that you're using the right tools at the right time kind of thing, which has really helped. And I think it's also helps us keeping that emotional connection really alive, because that's the bit that's so important to me. And it helps us to share. Keeping that emotional connection deep is about being able to share stories through the day.
Yeah.
You know, you're living the experience with each other and keeping those little small things really relevant, so that it's not like a big catch up.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. So I think we're starting to get really good at it.
It is. I find it hard because you're not awake until it's like mid-afternoon for me. So like I've got all these wee things that has happened in the morning, or things I want to tell you that's happened from like 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And you're not awake, and it's so frustrating sometimes. I check your WhatsApp and it's like last seen at 2 a.m. and I think, oh, they're not awake yet.
That happened this morning.
This morning that happened.
Yeah, I had a wee messages to say, this is happening and I need your help with that. Can you phone me when you wake up?
Yeah.
And the first thing I want to do is put my glasses on when I'm still in my jammies and lie in my bed and phone you. And I actually have to stop, because I know that's not the best way for me to wake up.
Yeah.
And the best thing for me to do, and I won't be able to be the best I can be for you in that space.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of pace yourself a wee bit when you're doing that. Yeah.
But, I mean, it is hard. It's really hard, and you can do all these things, and we have like a few other wee things that we do. Like we share Netflix series with each other. We might watch it at the same time, or you might, you might watch it first and then I'll watch it and chat with you, like a book club, but for Netflix. Because we don't really read.
But sometimes you'd think we were watching different things.
Yeah, we interpret them totally differently.
Totally differently.
Or like,
you'll love, and I'll say that was the biggest heap of pants I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And you just don't get it. But it's the fact that we've both watched it. Do you know what I love that we did? We actually watched a movie at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was over. Yeah. And we didn't know if that would actually work. So for some of the time we were on, like, just sat with the camera on the WhatsApp and just literally sat and watched it, and made wee comments like you would if somebody was sitting next to you on the sofa. And then the what?
You're not even watching it.
I know. It was always that wee comment, because you would be saying things, are you playing on your phone? And I'm going, oh God, it's like the movie police. Do you know? It really was. And that worked really well, actually, because we also switched it off at one point, and then you were sending me wee messages.
Yeah.
And amongst it all. And that worked. I mean, we've only done it once, but I would definitely do that again.
Definitely. I mean, it's scheduling time for this.
Oh my goodness. There's Annie and Bree wanting to be in the podcast.
Like scheduling time. Is that Annie?
That is Annie. I think somebody might be coming to the door. She loves a good postman. Hey ho.
Scheduling time. Because I think it's easy to say just pick up the phone and call them, or do the movie, but sometimes, because we are living two totally different lives, like my life is totally different to yours and your life is totally different to mine. It's not blended as much as we would like it to be. So if I'm doing something that's very much in my life here, it can be hard to answer the phone sometimes and then bring in that other part of my life, if that makes sense. So like there's sometimes I just don't have the space for one or the other.
Yeah, it's like because it does take quite a bit of energy switching from one to the other.
Yeah.
Because I'm having to be really present in my own life, and then you're wanting me to be really present in yours. Yeah. And it's not like we've scheduled time. to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so that can be really quite hard. But I don't know. I think there's. Oh, do you know what I thought of? Just while I'm going back to the movie thing because it was in my head. Do you know what I think we should try? Having a virtual dinner, because I do kind of virtual cooking with your sister. So she's honestly what she loves phoning me at tea time. So it ended up that she was cooking, or I was cooking, or we were both cooking, because that's just when she phones me. And then, so we end up cooking, talking about what we're cooking, talking about our day, showing each other food pictures. And literally, it can be 45 minutes and she's just sitting there beside the cooker. And sometimes we don't even talk. We're just getting on with what we're getting on with. And it made me think about having like a virtual dinner.
Yeah.
Whereas if we sat and actually made our dinners and then sat and had maybe could go even further and have the same thing to eat.
We could.
I don't know. We could make a wee macaroni cheese.
I mean, time zone permitting, I suppose.
Maybe. It was just an idea. Anyway. It's the concept of it, isn't it? Because I suppose you could, if you were into gaming, you could be doing that kind of thing together. If you were into shopping, whatever it is, there's opportunity to do more just using the tech that's there. But I think that the other part of staying connected and being apart when you're trying to do that is that it does support you to be more independent, you know, and me helping you to become independent. It's not that you weren't independent when you lived here, but it's another thing going out and being able to live on your own and be your own woman and completely be responsible for everything, like your gas bills down to your rent. I think being apart, there's been a lot of value in it and supporting you to be on that independent journey. I don't know how it's felt for you.
It has felt. I was independent before, but this is a whole different level of independence. It's not even just, what is she barking at?
I don't know what she's barking at, but she's definitely, it's not a postie anymore. She's obviously hearing something.
No.
But let's just keep going. Let's all pretend that Annie isn't barking. Right.
It's not the same as me moving out back home, because you could still pop round with a shopping, or you could pop round and for dinners or washing or just all the stuff that helps with the independence thing. But here, everything is on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And as soon as I stepped off that plane, everything was on me.
Yeah.
So
I have to it's pushed me to have to trust you to make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Not to step in and potentially take over. And I suppose what do I hope it makes you feel less smothered?
Yeah, I don't think I've felt smothered before. I mean, sometimes it's actually like I'm actually begging for it. So I went from 0 to 1 million, and you just want somebody to make those decisions because it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah. I think though, as a parent, it's a learning curve of learning when to intervene and when to just listen and when to, ask questions. And, it's like a balancing act.
Yeah.
And you just learn it. And I think we are definitely getting better at it. And being able to give that space, I think, and allow you to blossom has allowed us to feel way more connected as two adult women rather than mother and child, because I think that's really strengthened over the course of this last year and a half.
Yeah, definitely. It's more women, even when I came home at Christmas, like the dynamic's different.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I really like it more.
Yeah, I enjoy it more. Even though I do like the running after a wee bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, there was lovely things I liked to be able to do. Like, you would go out and you'd come back and your whole room was tidy, all your clothes were away, your washing was in the basket. You didn't have to do anything when you were here. And that was just like, I loved being that as a mum, do you know? It was those little surprises that are really nice. But the other thing I've kind of noticed when I was reflecting on preparing for today's episode, was that you've started putting in boundaries for yourself that you wouldn't have put in when you were here. You're much more ready to say, I can't do that then, and to say no to things, which is really good actually, because it makes me, there's a different level of respect that comes from being able to do that. And me feeling that you feel really empowered, which is good. Because if you can do it with me, you'll be able to do it with other people.
Yeah, it does. It teaches you to do that, like totally moving away or not moving out as such. I don't think it teaches you that as quickly, just moving out. It's definitely moving away that teaches you that, and being on your own and establishing relationships, and you have to say no.
Yeah.
You've got no choice.
What a thing that's come into my head, and this is just me being curious, is how have you found, because we've talked about how we have kept connected, but extended family has always been really important to me for you. Now that has, me and your dad were divorced, so we had all that whole thing of families separating and being in different camps and all of that stuff going on. But through it all, you having connection to your extended family was so important. You know, staying in contact with aunts and cousins and grands and grandpas and all of that. How are you managing all of that now that you're away? I've never asked you that really before.
I mean, social media is there, and like the same thing, WhatsApp. If I was to chat with cousins or aunts or uncles, but the person I would speak to most would be my gran, but she's the hardest one to speak to because she doesn't have social media. I can't phone home. Like, I don't have international minutes, which I probably could get, but I don't have international minutes. So the only way I can speak to her is if she calls me on her Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
And if I see that call, if I don't see that call, I can't call her back because she'll be away because it's on her telly. So
yeah.
I don't really...
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
That brings a really key thing about generational connection.
Yeah.
And that even I know there's bits of technology, I'll just go, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And because I just don't feel engaged with it. And I think I'm pretty good with tech, but there's your gran in her 80s, and tech is just not going to happen in this lifetime at the level that allows you to communicate really well in Dubai. Just down to hearing and sight and that kind of thing, it can be really challenging.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, I was just curious about it.
Yeah. She's the only person that I can't contact with. Everybody else is, you know, same as me and you, can use WhatsApp, can use Facebook Messenger or text, Instagram, whatever. Like, gran is tricky. Really tricky.
Yeah. I think the big thing here that I'm hearing from everything we've talked about today is flexibility is the word that's coming to mind. Staying flexible about how you communicate, being flexible and open to learning about the best ways to do it, being curious about what's happening all of the time. It's that flexibility, I think, allows things to work. Even if it's down to something comes up on a Sunday when we're normally having a call, and knowing that, well, I just have to be flexible. If you need to go out with friends, then you need to go out with friends. And as you say, it's not like we don't speak every day. But I think that's what it comes down to. And just accepting that sometimes life does get in the way, and that would be normal, even if you were in the house. Well, that's been a really interesting conversation, actually.
Yeah.
It's made me really appreciate what we have.
I think we do really well. That's what I've learned from that conversation.
Yeah. You know, it's like I've even found like this podcast has been such a rich way of deepening our connection. Yeah. Annie is definitely determined to be in this podcast today. But it's been such a rich way of deepening that, because even when I might be 15 minutes late for coming on for the recording, in past times you would have been really irritated that I was late. you are as chilled out as anything, and vice versa. It's just like, it's no problem. We'll get there, do you know? And even working out who has to do what to produce it. And we always just seem to get there with it. And I don't think we might have had a couple of crosswords on the day it launched because the tech wasn't really working. But apart from that, it's just, I look forward to it every single week with you. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, folks, I think that feels like a good place to wrap up for this week. My summary is that parenting apart isn't easy, but with creativity, good communication, and a whole load of love, it is possible to keep those relationships strong. Yeah,
I agree. And a whole lot of patience.
Yeah, I do. I hope it's given everybody some ideas to try out in your own family dynamics. And do let us know if any of this resonated with you, and feel free to share any tips with us on social media, because we always love hearing from you.
But I hope it makes some people feel better about how they're communicating with people. Sometimes, it's like, oh, I can always do better, or we don't speak enough, but there's only so much you can do. So it might make some people think we're doing all right.
Yeah. And release this whole belief that, oh my goodness, they're not here, like it's a bad thing. Make this your new normal and just embrace it. I don't know what I'm going to do with that dog. Something, I wonder if there's somebody actually breaking into the house, and we're sitting here doing a podcast.
She's fighting for her life down there.
She's fighting for her life. Right, we're going to finish up, and I'm going to go and see what Annie's up to. But folks, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't miss next week's episode, because we've got a really good one for you. So until then, stay close. Stay close to all your loved ones, and no matter the distance, stay connected. And we look forward to seeing you back here, same time, same place at
The Distance Diaries.
The Distance Diaries. Take care, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.
Thanks for spending time with us on The Distance Diaries.
We hope you laughed, maybe learned something, and most importantly, felt a little more connected.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little connection too.
And join us on Instagram and TikTok at The Distance Diaries Podcast for sneak peeks, behind the scenes fun, and much more.
We'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Until then, stay connected, no matter the miles.